Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Here I'm into the garden, which I had made a recent video where I actually said I'm gonna be back to the garden to plant up some potato slips. So what I'm doing today is I'm actually just planted them. So I'm going to give them a little bit of water, and this water is gonna ensure that they catch. Okay, so it's not to say I'm gonna be wetting them one after the other, but this is just water so they can catch themselves into the soil, and from them I can bring up my pump and start doing a big project. Okay, so far I had came today and I had actually did some very good transplanting, supplying a few mold up, and I believe I'm actually in a good position now. So I have my planting trees all stocked. So I got a few more plants to bring, which I said I will be doing. The top side there, as you can see, the mold is actually off the ground, so I did some holes up there for planting trees or fig trees, and also I got some others planted all on the other side. So super, I can say, is actually, as I always said, it's earlier to come here in the morning because of those trees I don't get to feel the sun until maybe 8 9. And the last thing I have to do here is give my potato slips a little bit of water, and I'm going to do that as quick as possible. Okay, so what I'm going to do in the future to come, I'm going to get some lines and I'm going to run some lines up here, so when I come up I can just give it like a 4-hour wetting. I can just open, place the sprinkler in a very good place where I know for sure it can reach right up to the top of the bank, and I can place a sprinkler and I can actually do a big wetting. Okay, and that's going to be something really good. Or maybe I don't must do it like this. I can actually cut a hedge in and I can actually sip the water through. Okay, the soil is a little bit watery still. There's a little bit moisture into the soil, so I'm not going to give them a lot of water. I'm just going to give them a little water to keep them from the sun whenever it reaches up. And then I'm going to be working on the pipes. So it's very good to work early in the morning. It gives you a more better insight of the work. You don't feel the sun, you don't feel tired, you feel a little bit motivated, and as you go on you're going to see the progress, and that's going to give you the vibe to continue doing what you're doing. So I'm going to be wetting these, and then I'm going to be heading down to my melons because I see they are actually germinating. I already prepared my holes. I already put up my water system set up for my wetting of the land, and I have to pick up some plants today, I guess. So I'm going to be supplying some plants on the other end also. I'm going to be doing my melons, and then I'm going to be supplying some plants up here, which I recently did some holes. So actually this is it for the morning period. What I can say is actually, if you're doing farming and you want to do a lot of farming, it's better to get up early into the morning, 5 6, if you can have that time. Or if your land is shaded like mine are for a while, then you can check the amount of hours of day per sun going to reach up over your head, and then you're going to see that, okay, I can have at least 3 hours here, 4 hours here if I come early enough so the sun don't take me. So one point to consider in farming, if you're a farmer, if you love farming, I can say you want to make yourself comfortable, and by doing that you want to actually make sure that you feel comfortable whenever you're doing the job. So I don't got much time here, so I'm going to start to get them. As I said, no big set of water, it's just a starting piece of water, and that little bit of water is going to help them to keep the germination process intact. Okay, so I'm not going to soak it because we had some recent rainfalls, and with this garden it holds the water pretty well. So it's a big win for me when it comes to this garden and water conservation. So if I do a very big wetting here, then I doesn't have to come back and wet here again for some time, because it's going to be fully wet. It's going to be well wet. As I said, 1 can of water per bed until I reach the final top. So that's what I'm going to be doing today, and maybe I can walk you guys through the whole process and show you all how I do it here. So normally I don't waste my time. As I said, time is really important, and I said your time is your money when it comes to business, and for farming the water is your money. So as long as you got the water, you're gonna have the money. And even though there are secrets that most of the bigger farmers won't tell you when you're doing farming, I guess as much as a farmer, you may have to figure out certain things on your own. Okay, certain things like what type of soil, what type of manure. Every farmer experiences differently, and that's something that everyone, you got to be very passionate about, because every farmer experiences differently. Even to when it comes to your planting, every farmer has different soil. Wherever you are located, your soil may be a little bit down, but if you give it a little top, then it's going to be good. So for the first bed, which is already wet, I'm going to give the second bed a little wet also. So they say these are long-term things. It's just a little water to start, and after this they're on their own, and then I'm going to set up the water system, which they are going to fall into, because I want to wet my plantains and my fig. It can be like twice per week, a real good soak down every 2 weeks, and this should give my plants more determination to have more suckers, to grow better, to intake the manure better. Okay, so I'm going to give them this for now so they can feed on it and give themselves a really great start. Okay, and one key point to consider for the both crops, whether you're doing farming in the long-term field or you're doing farming in the short-term field, it's always better to actually pay close attention to your farm. Okay, so you pay close attention to your farm, you clear your farm area, you source your water, and you start doing your farming. Okay, yes, there are days it's going to be a little hard. There are days you may feel like giving up, as I am doing here. You may have to jug water. It may give you a setback when seeing it's actually you alone to do everything. So it's not going to be anything pressuring, but for the first start, as a young farmer, it's going to be a little challenging for you, because if it's you alone, it may gives you the tendency that this is too much of a job for one person to do. But if you actually do the job right, Um, and if you actually work smart and not hard, you're gonna love what you're doing. Because this was my main problem before. I used to work hard, but as I actually said, I was actually building myself back then. So I don't want to blame myself too much for what I was doing, and the progress was a little bit small. So for what I was actually doing, it was actually a good thing, and by me actually doing it, this gives me all the benefits that I have right now. So I could actually have the water, um, and it can be gravitational flow. I have no money to spend on no pumps for gas, oil, and gas and oil. Well, most likely gas, because the oil is going to last for some time, but the gas is going to be something consistent that you're going to have to actually having with you every time. So for me, it's a it's a win-win. You know, many persons see it as a loss. Who is around my area let me see that I actually used to do a lot of short crop farming. Now I'm actually deviating from it. They may see to themselves that actually I had lost a lot of money, or I've lost a lot of time, or I have not been progressive with the short crops. But actually, it was all for the better. It was all for, I could say, the best option which I actually had. And without this little money I had with my short crops and stuff, I was not able to get my lines. And this was the money that actually made me get my lines. Also, this was the money which actually made me get my pump. So the building stage is going to take some time. Yes, I had did a little setback with some of my plants, my production. But as you're building, there are certain things you're going to learn as a farmer, and there are certain things also you're going to have to observe and make necessary changes. So for me, I didn't have much of changes to make, okay? Because when I started, it was just me, and now I have a partner with me, and we're actually doing some great farming together. And for working in 2 or 3 different places, and actually it's like 4 now, and soon it's gonna be 5. It's not that straining. That's why I plan to do majority long-term crops. But these are my gardens for now. That's the way I work. So what I actually want to do, I want to make sure I have my gardens on the ground. Okay, I want to make sure that I take all the initiative to be in these gardens, which I'm actually working. Ensure I give my plants the intake what they need. Ensure that they fertilize the intake very well. Make sure I see progress with their taking off from the ground to the big stage of which they are going to be mature plants. And when I see actually their mature plants, like these plants down there, that walnut tree down there, where it's planting, then I can say clearly, okay, all my planting is off the ground. I got a few suckers, and I can actually do some transplanting myself. So I'm not going to wait, because actually, with this process of the planting and figs, it's a partner, the same partner was team up with me. He actually gave me some of his provisions because he's actually getting out of the provision and he's looking to get into the short crop, while I'm getting out of the short crop and going into the long term, because I've seen the pressure there. But to him, if he said that it's okay for him, it's better for him. I got water into my place and he's actually doing the farming there, and that's really good. He's actually reaping the benefit which I should reap. but it's no problem. As I always said, if you're doing farming and a partner wants to do farming, he has the mind motivation. I can't work all the lands plus work in the back of the house, plus work wherever in the mountain. I'm gonna have to help. I'm gonna have to get help. I'm gonna have to share. Things are gonna have to work because it's not me alone. So it was really good for him knowing that where he's actually doing his farming, he couldn't access the water as how I am accessing the water right now. So he came and he gave me the speech. He told me that it's gonna be best if we do something together, split the profits, and it's gonna be easier for the both of us because I'm gonna get the little assistance I need, and also he's gonna get the assistance he needs also. So for that, I am in a pretty good stage now. I wouldn't consider myself as lost, because I can say it like this. I even got my animals, and still I was looking to buy another two, you know, because I have my sheep which is actually getting ready to drop just now. I got my goat, what actually look like he's wanna call anytime soon. But I was a little bit concerned because it's the first time I'm getting into the livestock area. So I was a little bit concerned whether I should actually give my goat the um, the allowance to actually start mating. But I know if I wanted a quick start, that was my plan actually, to get a quick start from my garden, even from my livestock, so I don't be behind time. So my plan was, since my goat is a little bit young, it's off the ground now. She's actually turning into a grown woman, and my plan was to actually take her from that stage, let she do the mating process, and sooner or later the pregnancy is going to develop the animal, and then I can get another shot. But still I was actually thinking about, she's a little bit young still, and I didn't want to pressure her like that, and I didn't want her to make any deformed, because she's a little bit young. But to me, it's really, really, really coming on, and actually someone told me that if she's actually ready for the mating process, I should allow it. But I'm actually watching her, spending some time watching her, making sure that she has what it takes, and I doesn't want to start it and then it's gonna be a big lose for me. So I'm gonna give her maybe a month or two, because actually when the mating process starts, she should be actually picking up herself. So I'm gonna give her a few months again. I'm gonna monitor her, because I don't think I should do it back to back like this, because I actually has my sheep which is gonna be dropping anytime from maybe next 3 months or 2 months. Okay, so I want to make sure I learn a lot about my sheep, so I can actually see the difference between a goat, and the observation is not going to be too hard for me, and I'm going to actually see what I could do, and then I'm going to do it. So as you can see now, the sun has actually just reached this area, and where I am still, it's actually still shaded. And this is my last bed, and this one also. So that was perfect timing. So I'm so happy for doing it this morning, getting it done, because I got some water setting up to go back and do. I've changed my tank from the river. I have to give you guys another tour. Make sure you all see it. Make sure you may want to run some gravitational flow. You may be living close to the river. You maybe want to put up a pool, something to make yourself comfortable, you know. So the plan is, I give them the little water that they need, let they catch the roots, and then afterwards, that should be it. So I'm going to be heading out now. I've just finished the job, give you guys a guide too. Actually, I always wanted to show you all how I does my work, and today was actually exceptional, and I did it. So, thank you all for watching on my YouTube channel. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, whatever you want to do with it. Comment, and then I'll be coming with another video by the ending of the day to show you. So, thank you all for watching, and see you in the next video.